what is all about cardiovascular disease? Why we cardiovascular disease is pioneer in setting trends for rest of the systems, and most of the research are the innovations have come from cardiology, as you know. And cardiovascular disease is also the number one disease in the world and number one killer in India. And it is primarily because it's more interesting in India, it is because it affects the younger age group much more common than the rest of the world. And why this cardiovascular disease increases in this current the disease increases in this scenario is because we have more diabetes, we have more hypertension, we have more lipids, we have more prothrombotic state, and we are not genetically more prone to it, and our behavior has changed with time. And more importantly, something new which is happening is we have got more of demographic understanding, and something new is happening. So what we have been taught and what we all think about is more the risk factors, more likely that we will have more MI, myocardial infarction, or coronary disease. But what is really true is most of the people have only one risk factor or none, still they develop lot of coronary events. So the reason is possibly genetic, that we know. But what has triggered that event? Something more than the normal things which we require to understand. Possibly this slide will give you a clue of what is happening. I see most of the orthopedic friends are there, it is not related, but still it is part of our daily practice and our livelihood also. So you have to understand some of the things. See here in the risk scoring, Framingham risk scoring, or whatever the risk scoring. See, whenever you want to take any risk, when you have a risk factor or a risk scoring, you just add up C reactive protein, an inflammatory marker. The risk escalates. It means something more than the risk factor is playing, and this causes more event. So that is the target, and that is the area of interest and talk of today. So what the international people thought about the inflammation, so way back in 2003 itself they thought inflammation has got some role in cardiovascular disorders, and the thought has been more emphasized, and it is good. They are more and more making some emphatic statement about all these things. Going back to the microbiology or basic pathophysiology, see what is all about your atherosclerosis. It's a very simple slides, make it very easier. This cartoon animation will give you an answer. This is the vessel wall, this is the lumen, this is the vessel wall. See, within this vessel wall, the subendothelial space, due to some reason, either a high LDL or some inflammation, something is happening, some trigger is happening, and the monocyte slips through the endothelial space and slips into the subendothelium. And this triggers some invitation to the LDL. This LDL molecule comes into the subendothelial space. This LDL molecule gets oxidized. This is what happens in diabetes, and more often in diabetes this happens very quickly, and more with small dense LDL. This oxidation happens very quickly. This is the trigger for further inflammation. See, not only this inflammation occurs in cardiovascular disease, it occurs in most of the chronic degenerative disease. So to understand it, here once it oxidizes, it triggers a event. It presents as a dendritic cell, the antigen presenting cell, or it activates the macrophage through some receptor. See, something like a nuclear factor kappa B. See, these things are very difficult to assimilate for non-practicing cardiologist or for a physician. But simple thing is, this triggers something which activates and propagates lot of things in the subendothelium. So two pathways are activated. One is something new terminology for me as well, kynurenine pathway. The other is NF-κB pathway. This is everybody knows, nuclear factor kappa B pathway. So these two pathways are activated through the oxidized LDL, which activates these two pathways. This is the two pathways which happens in every cell, not only in subendothelial space, because of the cardiology and cardiovascular system. I am just talking about this, but it goes through every cell. So once this happens, see this well. It triggers a huge amount of inflammatory mediators. whatever you require for propagation of atherosclerosis triggers. Inflammatory mediators, CRP, CD40, see what this is the culprit for most of the lesions. This is the culprit for your trigger plaque rupture, plaque erosion, acute MI, ACS in cardiology. It can be part of your stroke, it can be part of your renal failure, everything. This is the part of everything. So once this triggers, it invites more and more monocytes, more and more LDL into it. By triggering these adhesion molecules, this takes a vicious cycle and more lipid plaque comes into the subendothelial space, and this forms a huge burden of lipid into lipid core within the vessel wall, and it causes coronary artery disease. So why this pathway is activated, we know, and our area of interest should be to target this pathway. We don't have any medicine until now. We understand some of the things. So probably we have to understand more to deal with prevention. Doing intervention is very easy, but prevention is the most difficult part. So you have to target these pathways, or we have to target the young state, or whichever the earliest state. So we have to prevent these things coming into the vessel wall. So what we can do? We can reduce the LDL cholesterol, as simple as that. Reduce the LDL cholesterol so that number of molecules sneaking into the subendothelial space is reduced. But it is not sufficient. We know it is not sufficient. In spite of all your statins, residual risk after statin is 63-65%. So it's huge residual risk is there. So we have got various pathways to reduce the inflammation or reduce the level of activity within the endothelial space. It could be the mere antiplatelets, or it could be the statin with an anti-inflammatory property, or it could be everything is there, but still lot of people die, lot of people have morbidity, and more amount of MI and coronary disease happens in India. So what we need to understand these pathways, and we have to have a solution for it. Probably these two pathways have got the better solution. One is a tryptophan metabolite. This is 3-HAA, hydroxyalkylic acid, and the other one is your nuclear factor kappa B pathway, which our diabetic friends uses in a lot of way. So this nuclear factor kappa B pathway inhibitor, these are all trial drugs. So what does this pathway say about? See, this nuclear factor kappa B pathway, very simple to understand, nothing difficult about it. Whenever there is going to be an inflammatory stimuli, so this is not common for vessel wall, it is common for any inflammation anywhere happening in the body. That we have to understand. So it is inflammatory pathway. This splits open this bondage. See here, this bondage, this is actually combined these two. This bondage is split open by this enzyme, activation of IKKB. This inactive NFKB becomes active. Activation. What? This goes into the nucleus. As simple as this. This goes into the nucleus. The DNA is there. It makes a copy, that is mRNA, messenger RNA, and transmits all this into the into the system. Simple. So it throws out all the pro-inflammatory system. This here, it all comes from here. This one makes a copy of the mRNA and gives rise to so many of these factors. So this comes into the circulation, invites more and more trigger factors, and everything goes on. So here we have got a molecule, curcumin with the other thing is which I am talking about is the kynurenine pathway. It is a tryptophan metabolism through which what happens, the dendritic cell is the antigen presenting cell. Here this is the area of interest for us. What happens, it inhibits through this pathway. This pathway is anti-atherosclerotic and reduction in LDL. See what happens, this pathway inhibits this nuclear factor kappa B pathway. So you by inhibiting this, you gain two pathways are inhibited, kynurenine pathway and the other pathway. So this is a wonderful molecule. Activation of this causes inhibits this activation of nuclear factor directly, indirectly. So many things happens. These are too complex for us to understand. So all stages of your metabolic related genes, lipid metabolic related genes are inhibited. Either catabolism, clearance, efflux, everything is been taken care by this pathway. So we have to really consider this pathway as an area of interest and start treating it. But what comes as a bonus and surprise is reduction in cholesterol and triglycerides. Because we never thought this pathway will reduce in cholesterol and triglycerides. That is the whole scenario. See, we have got the numbers, we have got the mechanism. Both are being targeted by this pathway. So if we have a molecule, definitely this molecule is going to help us, but it is probably on the way. I do not know. It's in the phase 2 or phase 3 trials. So these are the documentation of what happens in the inflammation. It is not in humans, it is in the mice and cat. Rest of things are being studied, and 80% of the reduction atherosclerosis. See, this is a huge step, huge step. See, patient lives longer and they do not die of cardiovascular disease, they die of something else like a malignancy or something will happen in future if this molecule is going to come true, and our orthopedic friends will have more osteoarthritis need to be treated. To summarize, this 3 HAA pathway is an intermediate metabolite of kynurenine pathway. It has significant clinical benefits. It is going to come really after the phase 4 trials. It improves lipid profile. It's going to be a better drug than the HMG-CoA reductase inhibitor like statins. Significantly reduce vascular inflammation. This is what we are all talking about, inflammation. So every trigger factor for an MI will be a stress and inflammation. That mind it. So this is going to target this, and possibly we are going to have some answer for it. And there are a lot of newer targets under study. So many innovative things are happening around us which we do not know, or we are ignorant of what is happening. So many small little pathway of inflammation has been targeted, and there are so many trials going around the world to target this. These are the numbers which I also do not understand most of things, as I believe you also do not know, so I skip this slide. So to conclude, despite optimal therapy with current drugs, we all understand residual risk after your statin, beta blockers, AC inhibitor, aspirin, clopidogrel, atorvastatin. You have got 65% risk. That is the truth. In spite of all your treatment, all the trials, standard trials, large scale trials have clearly shown we have got 60 to 65% residual risk after all the things. So people die or have disease and they live longer with morbidity. So we have to prevent that. So solution is not all about angioplasty and treating with all the major medications. We have to prevent it. So your lifestyle modification will be the first answer. Keep walking. Daily walking is the most essential for you to prevent the osteoarthritis, knee also possibly. So keep walking daily lifestyle modification, and your diet habit should be the weight maintenance diet, and having the body mass index to the correct level of whatever is required. Controlling inflammation is an add-on factor which we have to understand. Definitely this is going to improve the cardiovascular outcomes, and possibly may also further reduce morbidity and mortality in patients with cardiovascular disease. Thank you very much for your question.